I'm Terri Malik.
And I'm Jared Treadway, and we're inviting you to co-create with us.
From our home base in North Central Texas.
We're hosting conversations that nourish our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual intelligence.
We are about being spiritually physical.
And physically spiritual.
We are about inspiration.
And aspiration.
We are about involution.
And evolution. We're about self-exploration
and self-excavation. We are about each of us coming to know ourselves in our fullness and wholeness,
so that together we serve the expansion of human consciousness
with the gifts of our specific genius.
Welcome to 33 North, 96 West.
Good morning, Jared, and good morning to all of our 33 North, 96 West listeners and viewers. I am coming to you from Missoula, Montana this morning, and so excited to be talking with Jared in further conversation.
I'm at 33 North, 96 West.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Isn't technology amazing that we can connect?
It's so great. And in that way, you can actually, when you have a moment where there's a glitch or something goes out, or you lose power or there's no reception, you can actually thank that experience because it reminds you of how good it is when it is working.
Absolutely. Yes, that's a very true statement because I've definitely had my share of that as well.
Yeah.
I think we all have.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Well, today's topic of conversation is going to be fulfillment. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce this by starting the conversation with a conversation, reminding Jared and I guess you would say, with a conversation we had a while back. And there had been some contemplation. I know Jared mentioned he was contemplating contentment and satisfaction. If I recall correctly, those were the words.
Yes.
And at the same time, or within a very short time frame from that, my husband was contemplating similar concepts, and he spoke to me about fulfillment. So that's the word he came to through his exploration. And it reminded me that over the years, as I've worked one-on-one with clients, I've actually used that word quite a bit and said, well, it sounds like maybe what you're aspiring for or looking for is more fulfillment. And so I really wanted us to talk about that today because I think we've all been exploring that, at least those in my field have, exploring fulfillment and what that looks like perhaps for each individual, what that might mean. And for me, fulfillment is, I guess I would say, beyond satisfaction because it's that feeling of being full. So that's how I wanted to open that up and let us discuss today.
That's brilliant. So as you were setting it up, I was thinking, as we often do, perhaps it would be helpful for us to actually look at some definitions.
Wonderful.
And in that, we can actually discern or determine if that definition is working for us in context of these contemplations, or if we need to redefine anything. So, fulfillment is the achievement of something desired, promised, or predicted. The achievement of something desired, promised, or predicted.
I like that.
Yeah. So if I feel fulfilled, this is implying that something has been achieved, some desire. And I really like thinking about this at multiple levels too. I mean, just to kind of open up our minds and the minds of those in our field around this. So, and you may have just referenced this in the intro, but like, I've been I've just been on a long run and I get home and I take a shower. Oh, there's some fulfillment in that. But then I realize I'm hungry. I need to eat something and then I will feel fulfilled. I mean, that's a simple desire that I have achieved fulfillment of. Is that the right way to say that?
Yeah, sounds great.
And then I just thought to add the word sate or satisfy. Satisfy a desire or an appetite to be full. So obviously at higher levels, like, ooh, I've just received this brilliant idea and I'm inspired to like accomplish this creative thing. And when I get to that point where the idea has become manifest in form in front of me, then there's a result of that, which is a feeling of fulfillment or satiation or satisfaction. So maybe these words are also interchangeable to express an idea.
I absolutely agree from these definitions. And what I was getting ready to ask before you even introduced satiation or satisfaction is, are these, perhaps we can explore this question, are these moment-to-moment experiences? In other words, I think another way of saying that is that I think that's something to discuss, is that we can either look at it from when I satisfy that appetite, if you will. I believe that was used in the definition. Is it a long-term thing? Is it, okay, when I accomplish this grandeur desire, then I can be satisfied? Or I think in the past I might have been looking at satisfaction and fulfillment in a different context. In other words, it felt like satisfaction was almost a gateway to get to fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm re-exploring that, if you will, right now, because I think all of them, all of it, all of these emotions, these feelings, these experiences, I think they can all be, and I actually aspire for them to be in the moment, in each now moment. So, and that does not mean that I'm not going to have moments where I'm not in discomfort or dis-ease. That's not necessarily what I mean by that, is that I need to always be satisfied and fulfilled in each now moment, because the contrast, of course, will bring us to the choice point to have that. But I think where I'm going with that, I just used the word, it's a choice. It's a choice for us to aspire to those, rather than looking at it as it can only come through when I accomplish this big grandeur dream or milestone project, however we want to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where maybe our hiccup, if you will, is in society. We're looking at such a grand scale that we forget that we can have those moments of, I just went on a run and I feel very satisfied. I just filled my belly. I took a hot shower, and I feel relaxed. Now I'm going to fill up my belly. Those are some everyday examples of how we can apply that to even bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
So in the small things,
mm-hmm.
we find that.
You may.
And therefore we attract more of that.
You may.
Yes.
Or you may not.
Exactly.
So much brilliance and wisdom in what you've just shared. And there's at least 3 things that I want to add, and then we'll see where the conversation goes from that. So the first question is, from this level of creation, like from the perspective of a human life experience, within the construct of space and time, and that is a construct of our experience that we all participate in. Agreed?
Yes.
Yes. So from this perspective, do you sense or believe or know or feel, is it possible for all desire to be sated forevermore?
Of course, I think it's possible.
But from this perspective, because I'm going to say no.
But that's why I'm pausing in my answer, because I definitely strongly, I guess you would use the word believe in all possibilities, but do I necessarily think that there is one individual human being who maybe has accomplished that? My answer, yeah. So I'm just contemplating it. I know, because we are dualistic, and we don't, as we exist, we don't transcend duality and polarity.
Right. So
Yeah.
I'm flowing with you and agreeing. So what I would say is, if that occurrence became manifest, it sort of represents the end of the universe.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's nothing. So what we're doing now is, earlier in the conversation, we spoke to something very basic, very form, like this is a really simple example of burning energy and needing to replenish fuel in your physical body. I mean, that's a very basic example of a desire and a need to be sated, and then accomplishing fulfillment of that. But where we've just gone is to a level of divine will. Like, we've just expanded to include the mechanisms of the evolution of the universe.
Yes.
The universe is not in stasis.
Mm-hmm.
Our experience here is about expansion, ascension, evolution. We can't be in stasis.
Right.
We're in space and time, and we're participatory to this larger impulse. You can almost say there's a divine impulse through us each. It's like we are the agent of the satisfying of the divine impulse. That's pretty good, what I just said, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was very good.
Yeah, so that's the first thing I wanted to say in response to your suggestion. The second dynamic that I think wants to be expressed here is, as you said, in this sort of moment-to-moment experience of life, let's say I have a desire or a need or an itch or an impulse, and I'm not in my current moment observing the manifestation of the solution or a way to accomplish the manifestation of the solution. So I need whatever thing, or I'm inspired to whatever experience, or there's something I want, there's an itch, and I'm looking around myself, and I'm not seeing the answer. It's not here, and I don't see a way to get there from where I am. What do I do with my consciousness? in that moment of being dissatisfied, unfulfilled, not sated?
That's a very, very excellent question.
And then along with that, I'll go ahead and express the third part, and then we'll
Wonderful.
launch from that. The third part is, maybe the third part is actually the answer to the question, or part of the answer. I don't know. We'll see.
Perhaps.
So, can I conjure or cultivate the emotional, energetic feeling space of satisfaction or fulfillment without evidence from outside me? Can I conjure it within my consciousness? And then what will happen?
Yes, an answer in the question.
I think it is.
Yes. And what the points you just made very strongly connect to what is going on in my thoughts and feelings and energy based off your first question, which, as a divine human, I know the answer to the first question really would be no. In other words, we're not in stasis, and we are not going to achieve satisfaction or fulfillment and remain there all the time. But when I paused in my answer, of course I addressed the possibility. But I want to kind of take all of this further based off the points that you've made and what is moving through me. And I'm not quite sure I know the best way to introduce it, but to take these 3 points, if you will, and maybe definitely explore deeper, I should say. If we adopt the belief that we can achieve satisfaction and fulfillment and remain in stasis in that experience, we really are creating an illusion, and we're never going to find that. There will always be that seeking for that if we actually adopt in our belief that, yes, we will accomplish that, and then we are there.
Yeah, I'm flowing with you, and I think I'm agreeing. And maybe what I'll add to it, just to say it in a slightly different way, is that wouldn't actually ever be true. For a human being to say, I am eternally fulfilled, sated, complete, it's almost like as you expressed, it's an illusion. It would never actually always be true. You may find a feeling of that in a moment, but you are going to be inspired to more desire, more ideas, more inspiration. And so anything to the contrary to that would be denial or suppression or rejection, or there's some kind of mechanism in place that it's within your consciousness that is lying to you.
Yes, and I wanted to bring that to point, and what you said is the perfect lead-in to, the third point, which was the question and the answer, is that I'm pausing how I want to phrase this, but because I can't recall exactly how you said your point was so amazing, but can you create within your own field and your own energy a way to bring yourself to that? Absolutely, you can.
Yeah.
So you can create, if you will, maybe a system or a structure, which are things that I often speak about not adopting in a rigid way. But point being is, as you evolve, you can continue to bring in ways to support that, to support the perhaps the methods or the techniques that you know work for you to bring you back to that. And those evolve too. Because I can't tell you how many times I've said and heard people, clients say, I've tried everything that normally works and nothing is working.
Well, that's a good claim. It's always good to claim that nothing works.
Exactly, right?
Because when you claim that, what does the universe answer?
Nothing works.
Ah.
So let's not even try, that kind of energy. So because, again, we have to remind ourselves it is an evolution. So, okay, that worked for a period of time and it served me. And be grateful. It served me very well. It brought me to a place of being able to return back to just feeling aligned, for example.
Yeah.
But as you grow and evolve, other aspects of concepts grow and evolve and change. The techniques grow and evolve and change. The methods grow and evolve and change. And so, again, there's no stasis.
Never.
Yeah.
I totally agree and resonate with everything that you've expressed. And what I'll add to it, just to kind of ground this and connect it within our listeners' minds, so many of us have been participatory to religious structures and systems and institutions. And what I'm going to suggest is that for many, those have been very effective. And if any religious system or structure that you have participated in has guided you toward your true realization with your inner being and your higher self, then it did what it was originally intended to do.
Yes.
Yeah. If you didn't find it there, I'm going to suggest it's not the only place. But what we're really getting down to here is the concept of faith and trust. Mm-hmm. And those concepts, at least there has been an attempt to teach them through these structures and systems and institutions by beings who have realized that all true needs are met in perfect ways.
That's wonderful.
Isn't
it? It is very wonderful. And if we really dive in, we can actually find aspects of each of these religions or spiritual traditions or teachings. We can find value in all of it.
Yeah.
And rather than perhaps claiming that didn't work or that doesn't work or that's broken or that's wrong or, so forth. I think when we're in it and we're in the moment of it, we're perhaps, if something's not serving us in our expansion, we can be very quick to, label it and judge it as wrong or as, I'll just use the word again I used a minute ago, broken. But I want to tie that back to something that I said earlier, is it really is the evolution of it. And I find that the more I have been through my journey and evolved, things that did not work, things that felt broken, things that felt disharmonious, and that created actually disconnection for me. In hindsight, now I can see aspects of those that had served me well because obviously, one, it put me on a trajectory to explore and grow and expand.
Yeah.
And two, not that there's only 2 points here, but I'll make a couple, is that we are receiving that in the way it is being delivered by another perspective. Have we really explored it from our truth and a perspective that in which we can find the value in it? And then where there's not value for us, we don't attach to that. We don't have to label it, but we also don't have to claim it.
Yeah. Well, it should be said, in some cases, there is some distortion and an attempt to keep us in fear of actually asking those questions of ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm really grateful that you pointed that out, because that is why, just to make it real basic, why we resist.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to question this, even though deep within myself I'm feeling something's a little off, or there's more for me to be realized. But let's add this. So is any, we've touched on this in previous episodes, is any human being or is any being exempt from being included in the energy of source? No. And so everyone's inner being and source energy is always present and calling us forward in specific ways. Is that true?
Absolutely.
And it never gives up. So if you don't find your connection with your inner being in a way that you have faith and can trust through a system that's been offered to you, you may look elsewhere, and it will always be calling you forward.
Yes.
It's a universal yes. Always.
Yes.
And so let's get this back to the realm of having needs and desires and wants, and then manifesting and receiving fulfillment of that. So there are some in spiritual communities who or some spiritual beings or some beings on spiritual paths who resonate with the idea of becoming quite monastic and contemplative, and there's a word I think that I want that's not coming to me, but once the initial shock or epiphany occurs, they go on the path of being. You understand this path that I'm expressing.
Yes.
There's a word, and maybe you'll realize it, but I can't get it.
I don't know if you're saying this, but I'm also hearing the word aestheticism.
Yes, aesthetic. That's the word.
Okay.
Yeah, we've connected, and there it is. So, and that's brilliant for those beings, because that is a way. That is a way, but
yes.
For the purpose of our listeners in the field we're creating here, and this is something I've contemplated a lot in my own journey, and I can assume you have as well, or you can speak otherwise, but we are in a manifest world where our past consciousness has created form around us. There's all kinds of buildings, cars, institutions, technology, bridges, airplanes, like manifest world. There are things that feel good for us to think about manifesting in this manifest world. So, for instance, when you and Tim received the impulse, we're going to do this overlanding thing, that is a divine impulse. Is that a true statement?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have received the inspiration, and now you set about manifesting it and fulfilling the manifestation of that in your experience. And that happens on a couple of levels in a couple of different ways. First, it happens in the energetic realm, in the etheric realm. The idea came to you, you gave yourself permission to acknowledge it. You both probably started seeing things in your imagination. And so right now it's all just energy and ideas, and you're having emotional responses to it. But then you received inspired impulse to act and use your hands and move your bodies and retrofit the truck and move into action. All inspired.
Yes.
Now, was your satisfaction predicated on the fulfillment of this manifestation? In other words, did it have to come true in order for you to be a happy being?
That's a really good question, and a powerful one for everyone to ask themselves about every desire, which is why you asked it. Many people would say yes, but I'm going to say no. If I recall how you phrased the question, so I can find satisfaction and fulfillment in any choice I make in life. I have the choice to choose satisfaction and fulfillment in the choices that I make. That is such a powerful realization that is not served on a platter to humanity. It's really not. It's not, hey, here, this is an opportunity.
Yeah. We're serving it up on this platter right now.
Yes, we are. 33 North, 96 platter.
Yeah.
And that's what I was alluding to, as I believe you were as well with the question, because it's a constant buzz out there. I need, I want. I crave, I desire. Whereas it's the energy is in the seeking. And as you mentioned, the impulse to take the inspired action comes from being in the energy of the desire, the passion, the idea. It started with the idea. And then, you, like you said, you start imagining it. You start seeing things in your field, because that's witnessing the universe, bringing it into you for it to come to form. I'm going to give an invitation to people that is real basic. Think of something that you've thought of that you desire, and then notice everywhere you go, you see that.
Yeah.
It's in your field now. So those are opportunities to further imagine, to further visualize, to further aspire, but not from a place of lack, not from saying, oh my gosh, I want that and I don't have that.
Yeah.
Not from envy, not from lack, but from I'm bringing that into my field. I am becoming the energy of that and allowing it in my field. Yet, again, our conditioning and programming has told us to let's look at all the reasons we can't have that, but someone else can. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's, and I'll just give real basic examples of, the phrases people say to us in our journey over the last few years of full-time travel. We meet fellow travelers, they're not the ones making the comments, but the people that aren't doing it, it's amazing how many people say, you're so lucky. I sure wished I could have that. Wow, how did you accomplish that? Like, what fell into your lap to make that happen? These are just some examples of things people might say if someone else has something that they feel envy for. And it's like, it was just a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another choice, and then another choice. And
are you saying it was a commitment to your emotional well-being, your vibrational countenance, and the fulfillment of your manifestation? Just a commitment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did your commitment toward your manifestation and your well-being and your realization require you to take anything away from anybody else?
No.
Or debase anyone else?
No.
Or manipulate anyone else?
No.
Is abundance limited?
No.
So, because you have found fulfillment and satisfaction in your adventure, does that mean that someone else has been robbed of their opportunity for it?
Not at all.
No. These are paradigms and structures, cultural suggestions, as we've said before, that have been offered to us for so long, millennia even, that they have become codified and solid. And so what you said, Terry, earlier was remaining fluid. Oh, well, here's this paradigm that has been offered to me. Do I prefer it? No. What do I prefer? I prefer to believe that anyone may realize abundance. Ooh, that feels great.
I just got chills all up my arms.
Yeah. Greetings. As always, Terry and I were having a lot of fun with this conversation on the idea of fulfillment and satisfaction. And we talked for about an hour and a half. And so we're going to break this one up into 2 episodes. And we're not going to publish both of them at the same time. So after you finish this one, after this cliffhanger, you got to wait 2 more weeks until we publish the next one. Stay tuned. I promise it'll be worth it. See you next time.